to our witnesses. BGI is a China-based biotech company tied at the hips to the Chinese Communist Party and Chinese military that's been leading China's efforts to create the world's largest genomic repository. Our USDA has provided grant dollars over the past decade to BGI for genomic gathering and data storage. Of great immediate concern, though, is its relationships with USDA and the American scientific community. BGI has access to genetic information of American citizens. BGI is listed as concerned by the NCSC, the Department of Defense, and the U.S. Department of Commerce. I want to stop and emphasize the greater national security threat we face in agriculture and our nation's ability to feed itself lies in this backdrop of China's goal to steal our intellectual property and then create and manipulate the world's largest genomic repository. Here's my concern. To borrow from the Wall Street Journal article, World War III will be fought with biological and computer viruses simultaneously. Next, I want to talk about the Earth Biogenome Project, EBP, which is an international cooperative initiative to sequence the DNA of more than 1.5 million species. BGI provides data collection and data storage for EBP. And please realize this again, the USDA continues to maintain a relationship with the Earth Biogenome Project today. Now, here's the important point. Here's the theme. In China's relationship with our nation and others, their goal is to obtain access to intellectual property while we pay for the research and development. The intellectual property is what's so very important in this relationship. And again, we pay for it, we do the research, they get the intellectual property. By maintaining relationships with the CCP-related entities, directly or indirectly, we place American citizens and our food supply at risk. There's no guardrail, there is no contract, no ethics of scientific research, nothing the CCP respects, as we witnessed by their takedown of valuable DNA sequencing data during the Chinese-created COVID pandemic. Again, my national security issue is this. While I acknowledge all the good that can be done from genomic collection, it doesn't take much imagination to realize the potential catastrophic biotech attacks rogue nations or terrorists could wage on Americans. So my first question for Madam Undersecretary is this, and I know this is not your exact purview with USDA, but do you agree that EBP and BGI pose a national security threat to our nation? And should we continue to have this relationship with either of those entities?
Senator, USDA is definitely concerned about agriculture and its role as it's connected to national security. We feed this country, and so we know agriculture is very key to that. With regard to this question, this is fully outside of my purview. FPAC gets to be the program-facing entities of it. If it would be okay with you, I'd like to take that back to my colleagues over in the Research Education Division to be able to help me better respond to that.
Great, I appreciate that. We did send a letter previously, and we'll be waiting the answers here. The plot thickens, though. We described an ever-widening web here. The Earth Biogenome Project and BGI are also part of something even bigger called the Global Virome Project, GVP, which was also formed and created with American dollars. More accurately described, the Global Virome Project became part of the EBP, so GVP is able to expand its global reach even more while it's been able to hide behind this larger umbrella of the EBP, which has made tracking of the Global Virome Project activities even more difficult, a tangled web indeed. And today, GVP supports the Trinity Challenge. So what's the Trinity Challenge, you might ask? The Trinity Challenge has a goal to collect the DNA of every human, animal, and plant across the world. We as a nation are once again financing the research and giving the Chinese Communist Party access to a gold mine of intellectual property that can and will be used against us. So again, for Madam Secretary, 2 questions. Is it ever safe to do research with China? And next, what are the potential bioweapons that could result from this research that could impact American food security?
Senator, thank you for that concern. USDA is very much concerned on national security issues and how agriculture is part of that. I'd like to take that question back to my colleagues to better provide you an answer and to give you a commentary on it.
If I could, Dr. Ortega, you've been involved with China on and off. Do you feel it's ever safe to do research with China?
Senator, thanks for your question. You know, this is a very complex issue. And, you know, I will say we have very talented Chinese Americans and Chinese scientists working at land-grant institutions here in the United States. I think it is in our national interest to collaborate with China on research. But we have to make sure that it's done in a very fair way. That's all that I'm able to comment.
I'd love to see how you vet these people, but that's probably a question for another day. But thank you so much for your answers, and thank you, Madam Chair.